So welcome everybody to today's event to launch the CCLS Brazil chapter. It's lovely to see you. And my name's Celia Blakeway-Phillips. I'm the External Relations and Development Manager at CCLS. So I look after the alumni engagement within the centre. And we're joined today by Jane Cloak, who works alongside me, and she's going to help with chat, although with the number today we might not need that so much. But so this is the fourth of a series of launch events that we're holding. So it's been quite an exciting time for us. And it's going to be an informal event, which will be an hour, because I know you've got work to go to. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in chat, and they can be answered sort of in the middle and towards the end of the event. And so today we're joined by Professor Ian Walden, Director of CCLS, and also Professor Duncan Matthews, who is the Director of the Queen Mary Intellectual Property Research Institute. And Duncan is also the academic who's attached to the chapter. And I believe many of you will have met Duncan definitely on his previous visit about a year ago to São Paulo. And then you'll hear from Cassio Moss and Ana Carolina Cagnoni Ribeiro. And they are two of the three chapter leads who are leading on the activities for the future of the chapter. So, as I say, it's going to be an informal event, but I now would like to hand over to Professor Ian Walden, followed by Professor Duncan Matthews. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you all, and good morning, Giovanna. Just joined us. Good to see you.
I'm really sorry.
No, not at all. It's just, it's lovely to see you joining us today. So yes, I'm Ian Walden. I'm Director of the Centre. I'm sad to say I've been at the Centre for Commercial Law Studies only for 28 years. So I show very little imagination about career development. But I'm very pleased to welcome you today, and I hope you're all well and surviving under the current difficult circumstances. Although hearing about the weather in Brazil, the difficulties are perhaps less than we are having to face here. We're here today to initiate a new CCLS alumni chapter for Brazil, which is long overdue. And this chapter is designed to sort of facilitate the professional and social networking amongst our Brazilian alumni, and to maintain strong and productive ties between the centre and its graduates. And as Celia's already said, I'm joined today by my colleague, Professor Duncan Matthews, who I shall hand over to in a moment, but as Celia says, has kindly agreed to be the academic lead for CCLS between the chapter and the activities that CCLS undertakes. The last time I visited Brazil, I spent my time in Brasilia, which I just think is the wildest, most unusual city I've ever been to. I was visiting an alumnus, Ana Paula Baylor, who has a law firm in Sao Paulo, and I gave some presentations to the telecoms regulator, Anatel, and the competition regulator, CADE. So I have very fond memories of driving around this 1970s concrete extravaganza, which is known as Brasilia. Clearly, you're all graduates of CCLS, and some of you, or hopefully most of you, will know that this year we're actually celebrating our 40th anniversary. We were established by Professor Sir Roy Good in 1980, and we had planned all sorts of activities to celebrate our 40th anniversary, but we had to go online in March, and we're now in our second lockdown, and so our celebrations have been somewhat mooted compared to our hopes and plans. But I hope some of you were able to attend some of our webinars that we've been offering over the course of the year. And the launch of this chapter is another part of, as I said, a long overdue expansion of our activities with our alumni and building stronger networks between the centre and all of you. Celebrating our 40th anniversary, CCLS is continuing to expand its activities. With respect to employability, for example, we now offer some 250 students the opportunity to do something related to their future career. For example, Q Legal. Did anybody get involved in Q Legal? Yeah, Q Legal is our pro bono legal advice clinic for entrepreneurs and startups. So we give our students the opportunity to provide real legal advice to real clients. In addition to that, we have increasing numbers of internships and externships and mentoring schemes. And just recently, I signed an agreement with Airbnb, and 2 of our students have just started externships with Airbnb in California, although they're still in London. But technically, they are working with the legal team of Airbnb in California. In addition to increasing employability, we're continuing to have significant influence on public policy around the world. Julia Hornler has recently completed a European-wide study on gambling and how we can effectively regulate and control online gambling. Duncan, as he may mention, has been incredibly productive in terms of facilitating access to medicines. And of course, in this era of COVID and the development of these vaccines, access for developing countries has never been a more pertinent thing. And Duncan's been working very hard in that area. And another example of CCLS's activities is the extent to which we are able to use commercial law as an effective tool for development. Commercial law is not, the centre was established by Roy Good because when he, 1980, academic lawyers thought legal practitioners were somehow dirty because they made money, and practitioners thought legal academics were somewhat ivory tower because they never left the library. And Roy recognised that was a ridiculous situation, and the Centre for Commercial Law is the manifestation of that ideal of bringing together practitioners and lawyers, and to use that interaction to really help developing countries. And Rosa Lastra, who leads our banking and finance unit, is part of what is known as the Sovereign Debt Forum, which is again a pro bono legal advice clinic, helping developing countries like Benin, Cambodia, Grenada, Guinea to negotiate with the large international banks in respect of sovereign debt. And so, as well as influencing public policy, legislation, and regulation, we are actually trying to do that with that specific twist of being an effective tool for development. So you are, as alumni, a really important part of the CCLS family, and as I said, it's long overdue that we've wanted to set up a Brazilian chapter. We want this to be an opportunity for you to network in both a professional, but even more importantly, a social capacity. And we want to build or provide you with opportunities to sort of maintain your links with the Centre for Commercial Law Studies, because, for example, the notion of lifelong learning is never more pertinent than it is today. But also, going back to opportunities, we would like to see if you would be willing to sort of give back to the current generation of students through perhaps providing mentoring to students about their careers, or perhaps supporting scholarships or bursaries, or working with us on projects, global and international and comparative projects. A multitude of possibilities, but we're very pleased to be with you today. And now I'd like to hand over to Duncan, who would like to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian. Hello, everybody. I wish I was with you in Brazil right now. I really miss it a lot. I haven't been working at CCLS quite as long as Ian Walden. I've been at CCLS for 18 years. It's a fantastic place, as you know, and we really appreciate our students from Brazil. You've also been, fantastic in your careers and your studies at Queen Mary. So Brazil, I first came to Brazil in 2005. So 15 years ago, I was working at Sao Paulo Law School at USP with Professor Maristela Basso in intellectual property. I was in Brazil, of course, just last year. In June of last year, I came again and gave a public lecture at University of Sao Paulo. And we also then had a wonderful dinner with many of you who are on this call, which was a lot of fun. And I have some great photos of that evening and some great memories. And one of the amazing things about the dinner, which Celia organized for us, and we had Angelica and Carolina helping to make things work well in Brazil, was that the dinner was the first opportunity that a lot of you had met in person. And that really I have this strong memory of people who were all CCLS alumni meeting each other for the first time at the dinner and saying, wow, you were at Queen Mary too. Often they'd heard about each other, but this was creating a real community. So for me, this dinner was the inspiration for having a Brazil alumni chapter, and why it's important, because particularly at these socially distanced times when we can't meet in person and have dinner, this is a really important way of linking together and forming a community. The brand of CCLS and Queen Mary is amazing in Brazil. People know about Queen Mary and how good it is for commercial law. And that is the same around the world. Often I'm in China. In fact, I was in China in January this year, just before the pandemic started. And again, when you travel the world, the brand of CCLS and Queen Mary is really strong around the world. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to link together online. And I'm going to just post something in the chat now. While we've been locked down, I've been working with some of our doctoral students to improve the website of the Queen Mary Intellectual Property Research Institute. So you'll see on our website, if you want to be up to date with some of the things we've been doing, there are even links to the recordings of some of the events that we were running, webinars about COVID-19 and intellectual property. And Carolina, you know about a lot. We've been chatting about this. So we have a lot of resources if you'd like to look at what we're doing in intellectual property online. I'm going to be back in Brazil next week, but of course only online. There is an event which I can tell you more about maybe at the end of today's session. It's organized by the Brazil Institute for Consumer Defense, and it's about abusive practices in the pharmaceutical sector. And I'm going to be giving a talk on a panel with many of the really top names, the professors in competition law in Brazil. So I'll be back on Friday, the 4th of December, and we'll invite you to this event later today. But I won't take up too much time. I just wanted to show that this is really, I think, important to have this chapter. So with that, I will hand back to Celia. Are you going to hand over to the next session, or what happens next? Celia, what is the plan for the next?
So really, it's just like, this is the informal part, really. So Ian might lead on sort of discussions.
Well, I was just two things. One, unfortunately, Celia and myself have to leave early at 1:45 at 45. I've lost the time now. 11:45. So we will leave you in Duncan's capable hands, but I just wanted to hand over to Cassio and Carolina just to talk about their involvement in the chapter and some of the ideas that they have for what the chapter could get up to. So I'm happy to hand over to either Cassio or Carolina, or both.
You want to go first, Carolina, or should I?
Whoever turns their moot off first.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I'm really happy to see this happening, because we are talking about this for a long time now, especially me and Giovanna, who is also here. You were there when you had a meeting, right? I think it was the first meeting happening in London for the alumni. We were actually students back then, where we joined the meeting as alumni just to see what was going to happen. And ever since, we are trying to make this really happen, like the real chapter to being set up, and I'm really happy to see everyone here, and we're having interactions on LinkedIn and also WhatsApp, and we really want to do something huge in Brazil. I mean, Duncan said that the brand, Queen Mary brand, is well known here. I agree, but what I felt, especially when I was before I went to London, I felt that other brands were more famous in Brazil rather than Queen Mary. And my feeling is that Queen Mary is better than the other brands. So what our aim here is to maybe raise awareness of the Queen Mary brand in Brazil and elsewhere. So that's our goal. Me and Carolina, we talked about this as well. We want to maybe organize more academic events, more social events, of course, when the pandemic allows us to. But that's the goal here. We really want to raise awareness and show, especially students in Brazil that are aiming to do LLM or even maybe a PhD, that Queen Mary is the place to go, really.
So, hi everyone. I completely endorse what Cassio said, and I as Duncan mentioned in the chat, it's been 10 years that I went to Queen Mary already, and I have the greatest memories. I met so many people. I met great Brazilian friends like Mariana that I actually met on the plane flying to London, and we didn't know we were going to the same university, and we end up being very close friends ever since. I have met people from all around the world, and these gave me great opportunities, both professionally and socially. So I guess the idea is basically to connect and to interact and to keep interacting with the university. I was hearing Ian talking about these new initiatives of the university, and I felt like I wanted to do LLM all over again, because it's a great environment, and I believe that everyone had the best memories. And to keep up with this relationship with the university and bringing Queen Mary more to Brazil and bringing Duncan more to Brazil and all other professors as well in all other fields, and we also participating more in the university, either by mentoring or organizing events. It's just the main idea and our great goal here. So I'm very happy as well that we set this. We want to incorporate more people. So if you know other students that are from Queen Mary, please send them information about us, our LinkedIn page, our WhatsApp group, and we're very happy to join everyone.
Great, thank you very much indeed. So I think we should do a few introductions. I know most of you know each other, but a few introductions, and therefore I'm going to be very unfair and ask Giovanna first of all.
I was actually going to volunteer.
yeah, and you just. I was going to pick on you anyway, so.
Yeah, well, nice to see you as well, Ian. I'm really sorry I got late. I just had a work call that overran. My name is Giovanna, and I am still in London. So I can help you guys with London events whenever we can meet again. We're, as Ian said, we're in lockdown too, but whenever it's possible to meet again, I'm happy to organize for Brazilians who are still here, alumni, as well as new Brazilian students, help organize events. Maybe we can go have something formal in a pub to begin with, and then we think how to go from there. But a bit on me. I studied with Cassio. Cassio, do we study together any module, or do we just meet?
No, we didn't. We just loved each other, but we didn't.
Yeah, we just So I studied computer and communications law, and Ian was one of my professors. And that was in 2014, 2015, so graduated 5 years ago. And I specialized in data protection, privacy law, and I'm working with this until nowadays. And I worked at a consultancy called Promontory Final Group for 4 years with GDPR compliance. It was super busy because it was during GDPR applicability. For those who don't know, GDPR is a data protection regulation that became applicable a couple of years ago. So it was very busy periods. And now I'm working at CIPL, which is a Center for Information Policy Leadership, a think tank based here in London, but also DC and Brussels. And I remember when my boss approached me and she wanted me to work for them, I actually went to Queen Mary and had a chat with Ian and asked, Ian, what do you think about this? Do you think it'd be a good career move? And Ian encouraged me. So here I am, 1 year after, more than a year now, and doing many.
Was I right or was I wrong? That you haven't said whether you like it or not.
I like it. No.
Okay.
Doing many things, I really enjoy it. No, I really. It's been great. And I actually have a project with the Brazilian data protection laws. So I'm doing more work with Brazil as well. And I traveled to Brazil for work last year. The idea is that I was going to go to Brazil at least 2 times a year for work, but of course COVID hit. But anyway, that's a little bit of me. Who else wants
Giovanna.
Well, what I'd like, so Isadora is still in London as well. So Isadora, I will hand over to you.
Sorry, say.
I was going to
okay.
Giovanna later because I'm in London as well, so it would be great to meet someone here. Yes, I talked a little bit about myself before, but I'm in London and I would love to help the committee as much as possible. I'm actually part of the mentoring program this year. So I have a mentee, and because I participated of the mentoring program, and it was very significant for me. It helped me a lot. I'm living in London, and although it's because of personal reasons, I'm working for a Brazilian firm from here, because actually it was Cassio that hired me at first. And now I work.
Just jump in, a Queen Mary connection here. I previous firm, and I met Isadora. I don't remember exactly how, but she was still in London, and I hired her for the other firm just because of the Queen Mary connection. And then I left the firm and she stayed. But Queen Mary joined us somehow.
Good. Lovely
yes,
story.
actually, I have to thank Queen Mary a lot, because it was a common friend that I met in Queen Mary that introduced me to Cassio, and now I'm in the job at this firm because of Cassio and Queen Mary. So I'm very grateful for that.
Excellent. Who else would like to just introduce themselves? João Vieira, I think. Probably said wrong, but I apologize.
I guess it's me.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know where everyone is.
We're all still morning, I think.
Oh, that's great then. I did the CIDR LLM, the Comparative and International Dispute Resolution, basically the arbitration one. I finished last year, so it was 2018, 2019. And I'm back in Brazil, working in an arbitration boutique firm. And that's pretty much it. I'm also an ambassador for the Queen Mary website, and I signed up there, and I'm helping some people with their interest in going to Queen Mary from wherever they are. So glad to meet you all.
Oh, I think Ian froze, but continuing the presentations, everyone hears me because I don't know. Yeah,
Go
okay.
ahead, Pedro.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, we started talking and chatting, and I didn't present myself. Last year, I hadn't had a chance to attend the event in São Paulo. I was still not living in São Paulo at the time. So I took the insurance law LLM with Professor Philip Rollins. I always start saying that I took the insurance course, but I'm a nice guy. Like, you can talk to me. I'm not weird, nor strange. So, and I worked with DLA Piper for the last year in their brother firm in São Paulo, but now I resigned my lawyer titles, and I'm currently working for an insurance company, Mitsui Sumitomo. It's a Japanese company, and we have a few reinsurance business in London, and well, and now I'm in São Paulo, living in, or I was going to say living in São Paulo, but actually I'm living in this room, and I guess that's it. And will be great to be in touch with everyone. We have friends from my year. I took the course in 15, 16, so I have a few friends from Brazil. They are still in London. I don't know if Mayara, you've met Carlos. He was in my year. So we have also Felipe Esperandio in London, and I have a few friends from insurance. Renata Benning, she's still in London as well. She's working for a PNI club. It would be great to have her in the team. And some people, I guess, from also the arbitration course in Portugal. But well, we can discuss it later.
Excellent. Thank you. Welcome. Mariana. We can't hear you yet.
My name is Mariana. I did the course in 2010, 2009, 2010 with Carolina, and I did incorporate and commercial law. And I've been working several offices since then, but in the last year, I opened my own office now, and I work with many foreign clients, Belgium clients, also I have American clients, and I have also Germany clients, and that I help here with the business in Brazil. And nowadays, I started with the help of Carolina, working with the protection legislation, the same as GDPR, that just started out in Brazil. It's been a tough times for me, but I'm developing well with the help of Carolina, but it's a very complicated matter, and I can imagine, I forgot the girl that mentioned that, was Giovanna, right? That said was, yeah, so I've been that nowadays, because here in Brazil, it's very new, everything. So I'm struggling a little bit, but I will survive.
Well, data protection is one of those areas of law which has really expanded hugely over recent years. We run an EU data protection course. We run a course in international and comparative data protection, because over 147 countries now have some form of data protection law. When I started my academic career, I was doing my PhD on data protection, but 400 years ago, nobody had heard of data protection. I remember my parents saying, "Will this ever be a career?" And I've not done too badly out of it, it must be said. So keep going with the data protection, and if you need any help, just call. Emilio.
Hi guys, good morning. My name is Emilio Bugs. I was at Queen Mary from 2012 to 2013 doing the commercial and corporate law. Duncan was my professor at patents. I was lucky to connect with some of you guys in the dinner last year. It was a remarkable evening. Great to know people from all backgrounds and from even alumni from more than 20 years of Queen Mary. So it was a great chance to connect. And I also agree with you that Queen Mary has a strong brand here in Brazil, especially in dispute resolution and IP law. So I do believe there is a huge field to do something together to increase the awareness of the brand and also to expand our networking. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Also, my wife is a Queen Mary alumni as well, but she just left with our daughter. So,
okay. So Isadora, I mean, Isadora said she's doing the mentoring, and that's one of the things I would like to recommend to all of you if you are interested. The commitment isn't very great, but I would hope. Well, Isadora sort of mentioned this already. It's a very satisfying and fruitful way of helping students sort of think about where they go in their career and how they develop. But we will send round further details about that at some point. And if there was an interest, we could run a training session for the Brazilian chapter just to show you what it's like and how it is. So let's do Gianna. I'm going to say it wrong.
Janaína.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm actually connecting from Turkey because of the pandemic. I decided to just relocate so I can save some money. I have a company in the UK. It's called Brintelli Knowledge Transfer. And I still work for UK companies from Turkey. I do lots of interpreting, translation, legal translations and interpreting. I also have clients in the UAE and Brazil. And I decided to take a sabbatical here in Turkey because I'm requalifying as a solicitor in the UK. I already passed the MCT test and I'm studying for the OSCE. And that's it.
So why Turkey?
It's very cheap here. The exchange rate to the UK is 1 to 10. Why not?
Seems good. That seems
plus
good
the amazing food.
Amazing food. I mean, Istanbul is. I mean, are you in Istanbul or Ankara?
Istanbul, yeah. And the food is very organic. I managed to lose 10 kilos just by eating the Turkish organic food.
Good, good. Well, at this stage, I'll hand over to Duncan because Celia, myself, and Jane have to unfortunately go to another event. But we just wanted to, again, thank you all for turning up today. And we really look forward to working with you and over the coming years. So thank you, take care. But you can stay on. I'll hand over to Duncan now. Thank you very much.
Bye all.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Celia. So did everybody